Have you ever wanted something badly, but when you finally got close to achieving it, you somehow found a way to get in your own way? You procrastinated. You suddenly lost motivation. You started questioning yourself. You became distracted. Or you convinced yourself that you weren't ready. And afterward you wondered, why do I keep doing this to myself? It can feel like there's a part of you that wants success, while another part is desperately trying to avoid it. But self-sabotage isn't always about laziness, a lack of discipline, or secretly wanting to fail. Sometimes, your brain is simply trying to protect you from something it perceives as threatening. And here's the strange part. That threat doesn't necessarily have to be danger. It can be uncertainty, change, failure, rejection, responsibility, or even success itself. Today, we're going to explore why your brain can resist the very things you consciously want and how understanding this pattern can help you stop working against yourself. One of the biggest misunderstandings about the brain is that it always tries to make decisions based on what's best for your future. It doesn't. Your brain is constantly trying to predict what will happen next and respond to what it considers safe, familiar, or manageable. That's why people can remain in situations they know aren't good for them. The familiar can feel safer than the unknown, and this can apply to success too. Imagine you've spent years believing you're not capable of achieving something. Then suddenly, an opportunity appears. Your conscious mind says, "This is what I've been waiting for." But another part of your mind may respond, "This is unfamiliar. What happens if everything changes?" That internal conflict can create hesitation. You may not consciously realize you're avoiding success. You simply feel uncomfortable moving forward. We usually talk about the fear of failure, but there's another fear people don't talk about enough. The fear of what happens if you actually succeed. Success can change your identity. It can change your responsibilities. It can change how other people see you. It can create expectations. And suddenly the question isn't, what if I fail? It's, what if I succeed and can't maintain it? For someone who has become comfortable with a certain version of themselves, becoming successful can feel like entering unfamiliar territory. That's why someone can work extremely hard toward a goal and then suddenly pull away when that goal becomes realistic. The brain may prefer a familiar struggle over an unfamiliar success. Think about procrastination. You know what needs to be done. You know it matters. You may even have enough time to do it, yet you suddenly find yourself scrolling through your phone, watching another video, cleaning something that wasn't even bothering you, or doing almost anything except the thing that matters. Why? Because important tasks can create uncomfortable emotions. Maybe the task creates fear of failure. Maybe you worry that your work won't be good enough. Maybe the goal is so important that the possibility of disappointing yourself feels overwhelming, so your brain looks for relief, and procrastination provides immediate relief. For a few minutes, you don't have to face the uncomfortable task. The problem is that temporary relief creates long-term consequences. You feel guilty. Your deadline gets closer. Your stress increases, and then you criticize yourself for procrastinating. The cycle repeats. Self-sabotage doesn't always look like doing nothing. Sometimes it looks like trying to do everything perfectly. You keep researching. You keep planning. You keep changing the details. You tell yourself you're preparing, but eventually preparation becomes avoidance. You don't publish the project because it's not perfect. You don't apply for the opportunity because you don't feel ready. You don't start because you haven't figured out the perfect strategy. Perfectionism can create the illusion of progress while keeping you safely away from judgment. Because if you never finish, you never have to discover whether your work is good enough. But here's the truth. You cannot improve something that never leaves your mind. Progress requires exposure to imperfection. Every time you repeat a behavior, you make that behavior easier to repeat. If you constantly avoid difficult situations, avoidance becomes familiar. If you repeatedly tell yourself, "I'm not ready," your brain becomes accustomed to that story. But the opposite can also happen. Every time you take a small action, despite discomfort, you create evidence that you can handle it. You make the unfamiliar a little more familiar. This is why changing self-sabotaging patterns usually isn't about one massive act of motivation. It's about repeated experiences. You take the difficult step, you survive the discomfort, you learn from the outcome, then you do it again. Slowly, your brain receives new information. Maybe this isn't as dangerous as I thought. One of the most important things you can learn is that discomfort doesn't automatically mean something is wrong. Growth can feel uncomfortable. Trying something new can feel uncomfortable. Being visible can feel uncomfortable. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable. Taking responsibility can feel uncomfortable. Even becoming successful can feel uncomfortable. Your brain may interpret unfamiliarity as a reason to retreat. But sometimes discomfort is simply evidence that you're doing something you've never done before. The question isn't, How do I make myself feel completely comfortable? The better question is, can I tolerate this discomfort long enough to take the next step? You don't need to eliminate fear before moving. You need to learn that fear doesn't always deserve the final decision. If you recognize yourself in this video, don't try to completely transform your life overnight. Start smaller. If you've been avoiding a project, work on it for 10 minutes. If you've been afraid to apply for something, complete the application. If you've been waiting for perfection, release the imperfect version. If you've been constantly questioning yourself, make one decision without endlessly analyzing it. Small actions matter because they create evidence. Evidence that you can act. Evidence that you can handle uncertainty. Evidence that mistakes aren't the end of the world. And over time, those experiences can change the way you see yourself. You stop thinking, I'm someone who always gets in my own way. And you begin thinking, I'm someone who can move forward even when I'm uncomfortable. That identity is powerful. So if you've been sabotaging your own success, don't immediately hate yourself for it. Look closer. Ask yourself, what am I protecting myself from? Is it failure, rejection, judgment, responsibility, change, or the fear of discovering what I'm actually capable of? Sometimes the behavior that is holding you back began as an attempt to protect you. Your brain learned a strategy. Maybe that strategy once helped you avoid disappointment. Maybe it helped you stay within your comfort zone. Maybe it helped you avoid uncertainty. But something that protected you in the past may not be necessary for the person you're becoming. You don't have to fight your brain. You have to teach it something new. Take one small step, then another. Let yourself make mistakes. Let yourself be imperfect. Let yourself experience the unfamiliar. Because success isn't simply about becoming more motivated. Sometimes it's about becoming comfortable with the discomfort that comes with growth. Your brain may tell you to retreat. Your doubts may tell you that you're not ready. Your old habits may pull you backward. But you can pause, recognize the pattern, and choose differently. You are not permanently trapped by the behaviors you've repeated. Your brain can learn. Your habits can change. And your future doesn't have to be controlled by the version of you that was afraid to move forward. So the next time you catch yourself standing in your own way, don't ask, what's wrong with me? Ask, what is my brain trying to protect me from? And what would happen if I took one small step anyway? Because sometimes the biggest obstacle between you and the life you want isn't a lack of ability. It's an old protective pattern that you've simply outgrown. And once you recognize it, you can finally begin to move beyond it. You don't have to stop being afraid to start moving forward. You just have to stop letting fear make every decision for you.